Hey guys, Marsingin here, bringing you Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle video, and so today we are going to do another AI created card and see what ChatGPT can come up with for us this time. I got a lot of comments from people saying they enjoyed the previous one of trying to get an AI to make a standalone Vegito Blue that could rival the AGL Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, to try and kind of make things up to the Vegito fans because of the way part 1 into part 2 went, right? Getting only an active skill Vegito Blue, and then Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta gets this amazing standalone card with the best animations in the game. And so one of the things that somebody had asked in the aftermath of that video, I think we talked about it briefly on a stream, is of course the meme, the legend himself, the LR Kid Buu, still yet to make an appearance in Dokkan, which is kind of crazy. I mean, I guess it's one of those things, after 10 years of Dokkan, it seems crazy that there's no LR Kid Buu. There are multiple Kid Buu cards, but I guess like when you think about the final enemy of every arc or like of every movie, we're getting to the point where most of them have LRs now. Like Buu has LRs, but just not Kid Buu, who is essentially the final boss of Dragon Ball Z, right? Like Cell has a couple of LRs, including the actual Super Perfect Cell, the final one that fights Gohan. Frieza, we of course have the full power Frieza, who is the very final form of Frieza that Goku fights on Namek. We have Demon King Piccolo, even though he's only a free-to-play, an LR from the end of the DB saga. And then of course going into Super, I guess technically, like if you count the Universe 6 tournament, we don't have a standalone LR for Hit, but we've got LRs for Kale and Caulifla, we've got LRs for Zamasu, Rose, Jiren. So basically every final boss, and of course GT, let's not forget Super Baby 2, Tech 17, Omega, like all the final bosses of every arc of Dragon Ball in all the different series, apart from Daima, but obviously that's still very new, all have LRs except for Kid Buu. So we're going to go ahead and see what the AI has come up with for us here. Of course, I should mention, as I did in the previous video, that it's not perfect. The AI tries its best, but there were some interesting things last time with like making up categories that didn't exist. The Vegito Blue that it created for us. Make sure you check out that video if you haven't seen it. But it had a new mechanic of like disabling enemies revival, which did create an interesting discussion on the following stream, right, about a potential event they could make in the future where one of the enemies, like you fight two enemies and one of them revives if you don't kill the other one quickly enough after you've killed the first one, which would be kind of cool. And then that would make a character having an ability to disable enemies revive actually do something, whereas obviously currently that doesn't actually do anything. So I've got it to make the kit. I also asked it gave me some similar prompts last time, didn't give me the same ones this time, so I did specifically ask it to let me know what the animations would look like. Obviously it can't create them, but just gives us a bit of a description. So other than that, getting it to do the thing, I haven't read through it properly yet, so it'll be an interesting experience here as we see exactly what the AI has come up with. So this is the prompt I gave it, because sometimes you need to give it a bit of like as much information as possible, because without doing that the last time it just made like a random one category 200% lead, despite me sort of saying that I wanted it to be similar to the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. So I gave it as much information as possible here. So since Dokkan still hasn't released him, I need you to design a Dokkan Festival LR Kid Buu, who will be one of the best units in the game and have no trouble with the 10th anniversary and global Dokkan campaign content. He needs to be better than AGL LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, Tech LR Vegito, and STR LR Rose. His leader skill should be the same format as physical LR Omega, with 3 categories getting 200% HP, 170 attack and defense, and 2 or 3 categories getting the extra 50%. It's been 10 years of Dokkan with no LR Kid Buu, so make him worth the wait. So yeah, I had to make sure with the leader skill I gave it this as much information as possible, because sometimes it will just like do weird things like giving a unit 220 leads and stuff like that, which obviously we know is not like how the meta is going at the moment. And you know, with anything like fan created, people often do like, you know, ushering in new leader skill metas themselves and stuff like that. But I wanted this to be something that would be something that we could actually see, right? Like this could be, you know, the Tanabata LR or something, right? Potentially. So After a decade of waiting, your Dokkan Festival LR Kid Buu should hit the game like a bomb and immediately jump to #1. Here's a concept that power creeps even the 10th anniversary LRs while still feeling authentic to Kid Buu's character and kit. So here we go, let's see. LR Ultimate Margin Activation Kid Buu. So I guess that's the name of the card, right? So Ultimate Margin Activation Kid Buu. And he's extreme physical. His leader skill, I don't know why they give the leader skill a name, but leader skill is Majin Buu Saga, Worldwide Chaos, and Power Absorption, 3 key, 200% attack and defense, 170. So that is pretty good. Is Kid Buu on Power Absorption? I know most of the Boos are. Let me go back to the wiki here quickly just to check. The other ones are, yeah, because they've absorbed people to create different forms, but Kid Buu isn't actually on Power Absorption. So there's our first interesting... and then the extra 50% for Corroded Body and Mind, Exploding Rage, or Artificial Life Form. So again, like, Kid Buu's not on Corroded Body and Mind. Exploding Rage, I think Kid Buu is on. So, I mean, I guess if we took off, like, Power Absorption and Corroded Body and Mind out of this leader skill setup, it would actually be pretty realistic. Majin Buu Saga, all Worldwide Chaos. I guess it's a bit limited in terms of the extreme characters, like Majin Buu Saga. I guess Worldwide Chaos lets us have like the Rose and Zamasu and Cell and stuff like that. Buu Saga, obviously, you're not really getting much extra that you wouldn't already get from Worldwide Chaos in terms of the extreme characters, but it does mean that he could run some superclass characters as well, I guess. And then Exploding Rage or Artificial Life Forms, obviously that means that like all the Buu characters, the Roses that are on Exploding Rage, like a decent few characters would get the full 220. It's probably not the best leader skill that he could have, but yeah, basically physical Omega's format, but tailored to hit almost everything you'd run Kid Buu with. Because I guess that's kind of what it's gone for here, is the leader skill by having Power Absorption and having Corroded Body and Mind. Like, there's a whole bunch of other characters that you could run on this guy's team, which would be good for him and good for the team overall, but obviously technically don't really make sense because they're categories that Kid Buu isn't on, so he wouldn't have them as a leader skill. But not a bad start, I guess, right? So his 12 key super would be the Planet Burst. Raise attack and defense by 30% for 1 turn. Does colossal damage, high chance to stun. And then his 18 key super is raise attack and defense by 50. Okay, so it should say greatly raise attack and defense because it's 50%. Mega colossal damage, greatly lowers attack and defense. And then it says high chance, but then 70%. So great chance to inflict seal and stun. Which is kind of funny because obviously doing both at the same time is kind of pointless. But at the same time, if you are fighting a boss that's immune to one of those effects, like, it would still do the other one. So in a way that is kind of cool for any of those fights where you could do one of those status effects but not the other one, is it means it will do one of them, right? So that's not bad. So then we have the passive skill. I do like the fact that it makes up names for stuff. Like, obviously the leader skill having a name doesn't make sense, but like the passive names, we know those exist in the game, and some of them that it comes up with is pretty cool. For an LR Kid Buu, his passive being called Sinister End of All Things, which is pretty cool. So he has an entrance animation. He guards all attacks for 4 turns from the start of the turn if there's one enemy or a Majin Buu Saga enemy. So bit of a weird condition because obviously most fights are one enemy, and then any with multiple enemies, as long as one of them is a Buu Saga enemy, then he would still get his entrance animation. Interesting. Not the best condition, I guess, necessarily, but most of the difficult events are against one enemy, and I guess it is only giving him guard for 4 turns, which is good, but obviously if the rest of the card is good enough, it won't be the end of the world if you don't get that. So, key 5, attack and defense 200% at the start of the turn, okay, which is solid. Additional 3 key, attack and defense 100%, and effective against all types when performing a super. So, on super, he gets an extra 100%, so it'll be quite a big buff. He also just, I don't think we've seen that, right? He gets 3 key when he super attacks. So, I guess you only have to get like 21 key, and then he would have the full 24 key for like the full key multiplier, which I guess is good. Guards all attacks permanently and launches an additional super if HP is equal to or that's actually greater than 50%. So so that kind of invalidates his entrance animation unless he's on like turn 2 and you take massive damage on turn 1, because basically the way this is worded is that the first time he appears on the rotation, if your HP is 50% or more, he then permanently has guard and an additional super for the rest of the fight, which basically makes his entrance effect completely pointless, because if he's on turn 1, he's just going to be getting permanent guard anyway, which is kind of funny. But I mean, if we ignore the entrance animation thing, obviously this ability is super good. It's kind of a weird restriction, like above. When I first saw it, I assumed it would be below, because that would kind of make sense. If you drop below 50% HP, from then on you permanently have guard and an additional super. But it says above, so this would technically just activate straight away, which is kind of funny. So then he has damage reduction 20% and chance to perform an additional super if there is a Majin Buu Saga or Pure Saiyan enemy. It says activate separately, so does that mean it activates like multiple times? If you're fighting like 2 Pure Saiyans, does he have 40% damage reduction? And then a 30% chance to do an additional super, so he has medium chance to do an extra super. Attack and defense 20% up to 100, and damage reduction 5% up to 25 with each attack performed. Okay, so even if it's only a 120% buff against Pure Saiyan enemies, once he's attacked 5 times, he'd have 45% damage reduction and guard, essentially. Recovers 15% HP at the end of the turn, each time he receives 5 or more attacks in that turn. I mean, that's potentially difficult to get. There are some events where bosses are attacking that much. I feel like if a real card has a passive that's sort of worded like this, it would be 5 times in battle. So if he takes like 3 attacks on the first turn, then takes 2 attacks on the second turn, then he would get that trigger and he would heal at the end of the second turn. It says 5 attacks in the turn, so unfortunately that's not as good. But obviously if we were to get the real card, if we were to, you know, make some tweaks just to fix some of the fumbles of the AI here, then I think that would be what that would be, right? 5 or more attacks in battle. But then also, this is incredibly powerful. Nullifies unarmed and Ki Blast supers and counters them, because it says counter animation, if guard is active. So as long as you've got guard activated for him, which as we already said, with this earlier part of his passive, it just technically you just get it all the time. So I feel like, again, even though that does make the card worse technically, I feel like if this was real, this should be when HP is below 50%. So in the first 4 turns he has guard, and then once you drop below 50% HP he permanently has guard. That would make sense. And then as long as guard is activated, which it's going to be most of the time, especially with it worded this way, he nullifies unarmed and Ki Blast super attacks. So those are like the two. Normally it's one or the other, right? Not both. It's interesting that it's not all of them, like physical Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, so there's still the unknown type, like super attack or whatever it's called, that he wouldn't be able to nullify. But that's still pretty good. Then he also has an active skill, Total Extermination, turn 4 or later, or whenever HP is less than or equal to 70% starting from turn 2. Massively raise attack temporarily, does ultimate damage, fully heals you, and guaranteed crits for the turn. So, I mean, that's pretty good. If you're on 70% or less HP, like literally on turn 2, if that was his first appearance, he'd be able to do that straight away, which is pretty crazy. And then his links: Brutal Beatdown, Margin, Big Bad Bosses, Infinite Regeneration, Fierce Battle, Wall Standing Tall, and Legendary Power. I believe if we check back to the Wiki Kid Buu, I'm pretty sure those are his links, right? Margin, Brutal Beatdown, Big Bad Bosses, Infinite Regeneration. Yeah, so he loses more than meets the eye, which is not exactly a great link anyway, in order to get Legendary Power. So that is actually a pretty good link set for the LR Kid Buu. And then his categories: Majin Buu Saga, Worldwide Chaos, Power Absorption, which obviously we know he shouldn't be on, Artificial Life Forms, Corroded Body and Mind, obviously shouldn't be on. See, look, Worldwide Terror is just Worldwide Chaos again, but obviously is not a category that actually exists, so we'll ignore that one. Exploding Rage, Transformation Boost, Kamehameha to synergize with Physical Kid Buu EZA and the LR Buuhan, although the Physical Kid Buu EZA doesn't have Kamehameha, so that's interesting. And then Sworn Enemies. So, I mean, for the most part, these are correct. Obviously, I mean, if they gave him an actual animation where he did a Kamehameha, then he would be on the category, which would be kind of cool, I guess, as like a Dokkan original for a Kid Buu. A Kid Buu that actually does the Kamehameha, and then he would be on the category. But obviously, as it stands, like, it doesn't make sense for Kid Buu to be on Kamehameha. But we will see, because I did ask it to describe what the animations would be, because that was one of the prompts we got last time. So it says, design philosophy: guard, damage reduction stacking, lets him tank 10th anniversary Cell Max / Ginyu from the 10th anniversary on release and future Red Zone bosses. Ramp up but instant dominance, starts crazy and gets nuttier with additionals from passive and stun/seal spam. Heals and nullifies supers, making him vastly better defensively than 10th anniversary Gogeta and Vegito. I'm not too sure about that. Leader skill creates a new god tier 200% setup for Buu units, Rose, Baby, Broly, Cell, etc. Finally putting Extreme back on top. I mean, Extreme's doing pretty well now thanks to this celebration, but it mentions Broly. What was his leader skill? Well, Majin Buu Saga Worldwide Chaos or Power Absorption. So Broly's not on his team anyway. So interesting. Certainly an interesting unit. Again, just like the Vegito Blue that it made, I don't think it quite rivals Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. I mean, like I said, if we make some minor tweaks here, he's got pretty good stats. He guards for the first couple of turns, can unlock permanent guard and a guaranteed additional super, has damage reduction, builds up damage reduction as he attacks, recovers HP after he takes a certain number of attacks, and can nullify unarmed and Ki Blast supers. That all seems pretty good, and he's raising stats on both of his super attack effects. So he seems like he's solid, but he definitely wouldn't be like the best unit in the game, I don't think, right? And then it did say, do you want me to mock up his entrance animation lines? Which I should have asked for, because that would be hilarious, considering Kid Buu doesn't speak, so it would all just be weird groans and shouts and whatever. But OST concept or banner and coin shop layout, which is kind of interesting, but obviously the first time around when we did the Vegito, it did actually ask, do you want me to describe what his super attack animations would be? Which it didn't do this time, so I just asked that separately. So it says, absolutely, Kid Buu deserves some of the best visuals Dokkan has ever made. Hear how his animations could look. So the entrance animation, camera pans the desolate ruins of Earth as trembling rocks float upwards. Thunder cracks as Kid Buu stands with his arms folded, head down, slowly raising his eyes with that signature psychotic smile. Voiceover, and then he has creepy laugh as he uncrosses his arms. He suddenly flickers and vanishes. Screen flashes white. The title card slams in Ultimate Martian Activation. I like how it gives these animations like text. It did the same with the Vegito Blue, which the game doesn't really do, which is kind of cool. Especially if it's in like kanji form like it did for the Vegito. That's interesting. So the 12 key super attack, the Planet Burst, starts with Kid Buu hopping from leg to leg like a madman. He quickly charges a swirling black-pink sphere in one hand, cackling, throws it upwards and then casually points. Wide camera view shows it expanding into a massive planet burst. Impact is shown from space as the planet cracks and shatters. This is his 12 key super, by the way. Cuts back to Kid Buu laughing in silhouette amidst the explosion. I mean, that's pretty cool. 18 key Vanishing Ball Barrage. Dynamic tracking shot of Kid Buu hovering mid-air. So I guess kind of like the Rose and Zamasu, where it has the sort of 3D effect, right? Where it's like rotating. He creates 2 vanishing balls in each hand, spinning them insanely fast before launching a high-speed volley, like a machine gun of mini planet bursts. The camera follows multiple explosions around the enemy. Final shot, he teleports right in front of them and fires an enormous point-blank vanishing ball downwards, engulfing the screen in swirling destructive ki. It ends with Kid Buu grinning with glowing red eyes as smoke clears. So I mean, these all sound awesome, right? It's a shame. I mean, it would probably take forever even if it could do it. It's a shame we can't actually see what these would look like, because that sounds epic. His nullification or counter, so enemy fires a ki blast or does the melee strike, Kid Buu liquefies his body, dodging effortlessly, then reforms behind them with his palm already touching their back. He whispers, heh, and detonates a vanishing ball at 0 range. Quick cut to enemy taking massive damage amid swirling chaos. So it's a pretty good counter animation, just like the nothing serious kid like teleports behind you thing. That's pretty funny. And then the active skill, the total extermination, starts with a slow-mo shot of Kid Buu forming an absurdly massive planet burst overhead. The lighting turning everything black and neon pink. Cut to his eye close up. Bloodlusting, then he hurls it to the ground. Camera pulls back to show the entire planet disintegrating into pink dust from space. Cut back to a silhouette of Kid Buu floating in front of the destruction, arms extended, laughing maniacally. So I mean, there you go. It sounds pretty epic. This Kid Buu I think would be very, very cool. Definitely would be very fun. The animations would be awesome. The kit, like we said, needs some minor tweaks, and even with those tweaks to make it kind of make a bit more sense. Probably still isn't the best unit in the game, but we're probably not too far off if we tweaked some of these numbers up a little bit, tweaked some of the like chances, maybe you know, refined things a little bit here and there, like the damage reduction up against the Majin Buu Saga or Pure Saiyan enemy. I mean, those are pretty common, but if it was something like Super Class or something, maybe that would be even better. But yeah, overall, not bad of an attempt here from the AI to make an LR Kid Buu. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Like I say, he's definitely not going to be the best unit in the game. I do like the fact that it feels like it did such a good job itself. It's like vastly better defensively than 10th anniversary Gogeta and Vegito, which I'm not sure. I mean, 300% stats after supering with guard and 45% damage reduction is pretty good. But yeah, I'm not sure if they quite stack up to the 10th anniversary units or the GDC units, but let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. If you guys enjoy these kind of videos, they are pretty fun to make. It's just something a little bit different and fun to do while we're waiting for other new stuff to come out. So if there's any other things you guys want to see me try and get the AI to do, then do let me know in the comments, and let me know all your thoughts on the LR Kid Buu scenario down below. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.